Topic D, solving systems of linear quadratic equations algebraically. This is the last topic for today. You just learned how to solve it by graphing. Now we're going to solve these problems by solving equations. So if necessary, step 1, by the way, you've got all your steps, so if you forget, you can always go back and look at these steps so you remember how to do it, okay? So step 1, if necessary, isolate a variable. And usually the best variable to isolate is y in the linear equation. That's generally the easiest one to do. So if you look right here, here's my linear equation. I'm going to isolate the y, nice and easy. Just subtract x from both sides. I end up getting y equals 1 minus x, okay? And then all I have to do is substitute this into my quadratic equation, which is this one right up here. Okay, so every time I see a y, I'm just going to replace it with 1 minus x. So I'm going to say 1 minus x is equal to negative x squared plus 4x minus 3. Okay, and then, let me get this out of the way so it's not annoying. So then what I need to do next is express the quadratic equation in standard form. That means get it equal to 0, that ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and then just solve by factoring. Remember, you want to make it so that your leading coefficient is positive, okay? So what I'm going to do is add x squared to both sides, but since I'm going to do that, I got to get rid of all of these guys too, so I'm going to subtract 4x and add 3. So I end up getting x squared minus 5x plus 4 equals 0. Now all I have to do is just solve it. I know my factors are going to be x minus 4 and x minus 1. By the way, if you're having trouble with factoring, please see me so I can help you out with that, okay? And then I'm going to solve for each part. So I end up getting 4 and 1 as my answers. But this is not a coordinate. A lot of people will think that my final answer is 4, 1, and that's where they intersect. It is not a coordinate. These are both your x values, okay? So what I need to do is find the value of the remaining variable in the coordinate by substituting back into either equation. So I have to do this twice because I'm going to have 2 answers in this specific problem. And that should make sense too, because generally, actually, that's not what it's going to look like. It's going to look like this right here, and it's going to look like that. So you'll have 2 intersection points, okay? So I'm going to substitute it back into either equation. You can either use the linear equation up here or the quadratic equation. I'm going to use the linear equation because it's so much easier. And I'm also going to use the linear equation where the y is isolated because I'm trying to figure out what y even is. So if the equation is y equals 1 minus x, all I have to do is plug in the 4, right? So I get y equals 1 minus 4, which gives me that y is negative 3. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing for the second answer, which was 1. So y equals 1 minus x. I'm going to say y equals 1 minus 1. So then I end up getting y equals 0. Put them together in coordinates. Now, a lot of people used to ask me, well, which goes with which? Do I put the 4 with the negative 3 or the 4 with the 0? Think about it logically. You plugged 4 in to get negative 3, so the 4 and the negative 3 go together. So your coordinates are 4, negative 3, and 1, 0. Okay? So those are your answers. The last thing that you need to do is check your answers in both equations. So I'm going to check 4, negative 3, and I'm just going to do it right in my calculator. Okay, so to do the check, we're going to do 4, negative 3 first. The first thing you're going to do is insert a calculator document, okay? And you are going to store 4 in as your x variable, all right? And then you're going to store negative 3 in as your y variable. All right, and then type in your first equation. Your first equation is y equals negative x squared plus 4x minus 3. Let's try that again. without the 44. Sorry about that. So clearly that coordinate does not work for the wrong equation. So that is true, it works. I also need to check it in the second equation. Make sure you check it in the original form, not in the form where the y is isolated. I don't know why that's doing that. X plus y equals 1. Press enter, it's true. So I know for a fact that this one definitely works. Okay, now I need to check 1, 0. So I'm going to store 1 in as x. Press enter. Store 0 in as y. Press enter. I'm going to go up and I'm just going to copy and paste. Enter, enter. That is true. And then the other one you should be able to do in your head, but just to show you how to do it in your calculator, that is also true. So I know that both of my answers work, which means this is definitely my final answer.